Imagine standing on the edge of a tranquil lake. The water is so still, so flawless, it mirrors the world with breathtaking clarity. Trees reflected like watercolor strokes, the sky doubled in an endless blue. For a moment, you feel as if you're peering into another dimension. But then you reach out. Just a fingertip against the surface is enough to send ripples dancing across the reflection, distorting the perfect image, breaking the illusion. And beneath that flawless surface, depth, secrets, mystery. This lake, its life. The version we often see is only a reflection, a shimmering veneer. What lies beneath is raw, untouched truth. Now pause. Think back to the last time you felt truly free. Not just relaxed or on vacation, but genuinely unburdened, weightless in spirit. Maybe it was a hike through the woods with the breeze tugging gently at your hair. Maybe it was a spontaneous laugh erupting with a friend that made the world stop for just a second. In that moment, you were real. You were present. You were you. That version of you, unfiltered, unscripted, alive is your true self. But here's the tragedy: most of the time that self is buried beneath expectations, routines, and illusions. Welcome to the Matrix, not a movie, a metaphor, a system, a meticulously designed web of distractions, conditioning, and subtle manipulations. It trains you to chase surface-level validations and fear anything that can't be easily categorized. It persuades you to value what's shallow, follow what's safe, and conform to what's convenient. But what if you didn't? This is the beginning of a journey, not through cities or countries, but through layers of perception. Layers that cover the vibrant, powerful life force inside you. We're peeling back the lies. We're diving beneath the ripple. We're reclaiming the original, unshakable truth of your existence. This journey is yours. Yours to confront. Yours to own. And it begins with one powerful decision to wake up. Welcome to the threshold. Welcome to your awakening. The next chapter leads us straight into the eye of the storm, the Matrix itself. Picture it not as some sci-fi abstraction, but a living, breathing organism, a web invisible but omnipresent, constructed from everything we absorb without questioning. Every billboard you pass, every buzz from your phone, every scrolling headline and social media post, all tiny threads expertly spun to entangle your thoughts, desires, fears. This matrix doesn't merely exist around you. It lives within you. It's the quiet voice that tells you to fit in, the internalized narrative that whispers who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to want. And as long as you listen to that voice without awareness, you're acting in a play you didn't audition for. Throughout history, sages and mystics spoke of this illusion: Plato's shadows on the cave wall, the Hindu concept of Maya. These weren't metaphors to sound poetic. They were warnings. Warnings that what we perceive isn't necessarily what is, that the surface often obscures the soul. Today, those illusions wear new faces: algorithm-driven, media-curated perfection, status obsessions. They dictate our lives subtly but relentlessly, and breaking free begins the moment you notice. When you question that gut-level sense of, "this doesn't feel right," when you pause before reacting to the fear, the desire, the craving, and ask, "is this mine or was it planted?" That single question, it's dynamite. It tears at the seams of the great tapestry. It opens a door not just to clarity, but to sovereignty. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. And once you see the veil, you can begin to lift it. Now, as this awakening takes root, it draws you towards something older than any matrix, something timeless in nature. There's a reason so many find solace in forests, oceans, deserts. It's not escapism, it's homecoming. Step outside the digital noise and enter a realm where nothing is edited, nothing is filtered. The soft crunch of earth under your feet, the wind curling through tall grass, the golden descent of the sun behind mountain peaks. These aren't backdrops, they're reminders. Reminders that reality doesn't have to be constructed. It already exists in perfect rhythm. Out here, every breath feels fuller. Every step feels like a return. Walk barefoot on dew-kissed grass and feel how the earth responds. It's not metaphor, it's reconnection. You begin to sense the world not through your screen, but through your soul. That subtle hum, that's your frequency aligning with something bigger, older, wiser. Nature doesn't rush, it doesn't shout, and yet in its silence, it screams the truth. You were never meant to live caged. But here's the challenge. When you return to concrete, to traffic, to responsibilities, it's easy to lose that frequency, easy to get swept back into the noise. That's where authenticity becomes your anchor. Every day, life offers you a choice: conform or express, suppress or reveal. You might be tempted to hide your quirks, silence your instincts, play the role. But each time you do, you drift further from your center. Authenticity isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's remembrance of who you are, who you've always been. And so as we move deeper into this journey, remember this: awakening is not a moment. It's a practice, a daily return, 1,000 small acts of courage. Each time you speak your truth, each time you slow down and feel, each time you say no to what doesn't serve you. You are not here to be a spectator. You are not here to fit in. You are here to awaken, and the journey has only just begun. The path to awakening is rarely easy, but as we discovered in our last step, it all begins with seeing through the illusion. And once you see it, once you feel it, there's no turning back. The matrix can no longer hold you the same way. You've glimpsed freedom. Now comes the challenge of holding on to it. Have you ever altered your voice in a conversation just to blend in? Worn clothes that didn't feel like you just to be accepted, or stayed silent when your soul screamed to speak? Each of these moments might seem small, but added up, they form a pattern, a slow surrender to an advertised ideal. And every time we make these compromises, the matrix tightens its grip invisibly, silently, relentlessly. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine the power of speaking your truth, of choosing to live in alignment with your deepest values and rawest desires. Picture the sheer liberation that comes when you stop performing and start being. That's authenticity. And authenticity in a world built on masks is revolutionary. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." What does it mean to truly own yourself? It means reclaiming your thoughts, declaring your identity, defining your own path even when it runs counter to the crowd. It means refusing to blend in for the sake of safety and instead choosing to stand out for the sake of truth. Breaking free from the matrix isn't about temporary rebellion. It's not about one loud act or a flashy protest. It's about consistency. It's about commitment. It's about waking up each day and choosing again and again to honor who you are beneath the programming. Living authentically isn't a one-time leap. It's a daily walk, one foot in front of the other toward a life of your own design. When you choose authenticity, something profound happens. You don't just liberate yourself, you disrupt the entire system. Your courage sends ripples. People begin to notice. They see someone choosing differently, and a question starts to form in their own minds. What if I could do that too? Each genuine action becomes a seed of change. You become a living challenge to the norm, a quiet rebellion, a spark in someone else's darkness. From here, the journey expands from emotional authenticity to intellectual liberation. Because seeing through the illusion isn't enough. You must also understand why the illusion exists and why you've believed in it for so long. This is where critical thinking becomes your compass. Not the kind of shallow skepticism that pokes holes in everything, but the kind of deep probing curiosity that dares to ask, what else could be true? The matrix thrives when we stop questioning. It feeds on passive acceptance. But the moment you start thinking critically, examining assumptions, dissecting narratives, questioning your own beliefs, you become dangerous to it. Imagine this. You have a job that pays well. It looks good on paper. But every day it drains you. You find yourself growing distant from your loved ones. You begin to ask, what am I trading for security? Am I sacrificing my happiness for comfort? That question, it stings. It rattles the cage, but it's also the spark. A flash of clarity that says, this isn't the life I'm meant to live. Reflecting on your worth, your time, your dreams, you begin to reimagine what life could be if it aligned with who you are. The path forward may be uncertain, but it's yours, and that makes all the difference. This process of questioning, reevaluating, shedding old layers leads to profound growth. You begin to see the world not as it was handed to you, but as something you have the power to reshape. Each insight, each hard-earned truth pulls you further from the matrix grasp. As you cultivate this clarity, you not only recognize propaganda or manipulation more easily, you also begin to perceive your own potential more fully. Your sense of self-worth blossoms. No longer do you see yourself as a cog in someone else's machine. You are a creator, a participant, a shaper of your own destiny. And then comes the final step one many never reach. Elevation. Breaking free from the matrix is not only about thought and action, it's about frequency. It's about tuning your being to a higher level. Emotions like fear, shame, and rage, they operate on low vibrations. They keep you locked in the narrative. But emotions like love, peace, and gratitude, they elevate you. They lift you out. Start imagining your mornings not with the jolt of an alarm or the stress of obligations, but with stillness, with presence, with the songs of birds, the hush of wind, and a mind attuned to possibility rather than pressure. This isn't just poetic, it's practical. When you choose experiences, people, and spaces that lift your vibration, you shift your entire reality. What was once mundane becomes meaningful. What felt like routine now feels like ritual. As you rise into this higher frequency, you begin to understand you are not just a body. You are not merely your past, your job title, or your possessions. You are spirit, energy, potential incarnate. And this realization changes everything. You start creating from a place of power, engaging with the world not from survival, but from inspiration. You connect, you contribute, you radiate. Each step you take in this elevated state reshapes the world not just for you, but for those around you. People will feel your shift, and in feeling it, they may begin to awaken too. That's how you become a guide, a less light, a reminder that another way exists. Let this be your call to action. Share your awakening. Lead by example. Choose the real over the illusion. Choose depth over convenience. Choose your truth. Welcome to the real world. It's been waiting for your light.